Hello, my name is Brian Grant and you are watching another PSU Intermediate Excel video. In this video we're going to be creating tables, or you can also call them table objects. If you liked those named range things we looked at a couple videos ago, I think maybe even last video, you are absolutely going to love these guys. Okay, so let's say that we are saving up for a car, and so what's the cost of that car? I'm just going to go over here. I've saved it as a named range. It's the val cost of dream car. I hit enter. Okay, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to change this to currency. Whoop, decrease the font so it'll fit. There we go. So the cost of the dream car is $15,000. In order to save up for this dream car, I'm going to start putting my change away, right? Every day I empty my pockets and I store the change until I can afford my car. So I have a friend who studies finance, and they said that it's really important to diversify your portfolio. So I didn't get one piggy bank that sits by my desk. I have two piggy banks. So every day I've been tracking this. Every day I go in and I put some change in bank 1. I put some change in bank 2, and I'm keeping track of it in here because I can shake the piggy bank to try and guess how much is in each one. But if I keep track of it, I'll have a much better idea. So in this example, let's say I want to find out how much is in bank 1. Well, we've seen this before many times. Control Shift up and then down one, because I don't want to select this guy. I just want the numbers. Close parentheses. Enter, 255. Okay, well, I can Control C, Control V. And I'm going to double click and see that. Okay, we've got that guy as well. That works out pretty well. Alright, that's not too bad. Now let's say it's let's imagine it's January 7th. It's actually February when I'm recording this, but let's say it's still January. So I'm going to do a 1/7/14. Control Enter. Well, that's not exactly the format that I want. Well, I'm not going to fix this because I think it's going to make it too complicated. Whatever. I'll show you this trick real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit Control C. I'm going to right click. I'm going to do Paste Special, and somewhere around here is formatting. Done. Okay, good. So I click that, and then for the first piggy bank, I'm going to put in 15 cents, and for the second piggy bank, I'm going to put in 10 cents. Control Enter. Same deal as before. Control C. Get this formatting right. This is another thing that would be a pain if you had to do this every day. Paste format. Alright, escape. Okay, now in this particular instance, you'll notice that this guy was smart enough to move, to increase in size when I added that number there, but this guy was not. And in older versions, it wouldn't even successfully increase the size of this guy. It would just mess up entirely. It would only have the range that I had initially set out. So I could add more and more values, but every day I got to come in and drag this down and hit Enter, which is not the end of the world, to be sure, but kind of a pain, especially if you have to do it every day. So it would sure be nice if there were better ways to handle that, and there is a better way, and that's a table or a table object, and that's what we're going to do over here in the so this is the normal version, and now we're going to use a new better table piggy bank tracker version. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to click on this table button. I can also do Control T. There you go. It's going to say, hey, I see you want to create a table. Where's the data for the table? Is it this right here? Yes, it is. You want to make sure that you have a blank cell around your entire table, because that's if I had a number right here, it would try and include this stuff as well, and I don't want to do that. So I want a white space around my data. And it says it's asking me, does the table have headers? Well, and headers are these things right here. So this is the data, right? This is the first column, the second column, and the third column. And this is the header for the first column. It describes what's in the first column. This is the header for the second column. It describes what's in the second column. And this is the header for the third column that describes what's in the third column. So yes, it does have headers. If this didn't say date, bank, and bank 1 and bank 2, it just had maybe December 31st and 25 cents and 30 cents. There was no text up here. I could turn my table as headers off. But these are headers, so my table has headers. So I'm going to click OK. So you've probably noticed that instantly my table, which looked just like this before, suddenly has it's graphically displayed a little bit differently. It's got it's called row banding. So this row is like it's got this background, and this row has a white background, and this one has this light blue background, which makes it a little easier to sort of look through the entire table. And that by itself is actually kind of useful. And if that's all tables did, well, they'd be okay. But there's a whole lot more. So first off, let's actually change that. Let's change that. I don't like this color format. I'm gonna change it. So see up here, I've got this table tools. I've got this new ribbon dialog. If I click over here outside of a table, that goes away. But once I click back inside a table, it reappears, and it's going to make modifications to this table. If I had another table, say over here, and I clicked on it, and I had that other context, the context contextual ribbon thing you could click on, that would be affecting this table only. But I want to affect this table, so I'm going to click on it. This appears, and I'm going to left click there. And if I go over here to table styles, I have a bunch of pre-built styles, just pre-built styles that I could just click on, and it will change the way that it's visually formatted. And I like this guy. We're here at PSU. I don't think this is exactly PSU green, but it's kind of close. So that works for me. I like that. Okay, and that's pretty cool in and of itself. But there's a lot more we could do with it. So let's say that we want to summarize. We're going to do the same thing we tried to do down here. We're going to summarize the amount of money in bank 1. So I'm going to do equals sum, open parentheses, and watch what happens when I click and drag. Okay, so this is normal. See, if you look up, this is H8 through H10, keep going, and then suddenly when I've selected the entire column, it jumps into this completely new format that we haven't seen before. And this is a table object range. What this basically says is go to table 1, and I want you to select all of the cells that are in the column bank 1 right here. So you might be asking yourself, well, what's table 1? I mean, we're guessing it's this guy right here, but is it stuck? Do you have to use these numbers? No, you don't. So let me just close parentheses and hit enter, and you can see right now that we have the right number. But let's go down here and let's change that name of the table, make it a little better. If I notice, if I'm clicked off of the table, there's no contextual ribbon tab. When I click on the table, it reappears. So I'm going to click on it. Boom. And over here it says table name. Well, table 1, that's what it was in the formula before. Let's change that. So I'm going to left click there. And just like with named ranges, I had that naming convention where I did val for values. For tables, I always do tab for table. You don't have to. There's nothing about Excel that says that you need to. It doesn't make it perform better. I just think it makes the formulas a lot easier to read, and it makes the autocomplete work a little better for you. So I'm going to call this tab bank tracker. Let's call it that. That's kind of a nice name. Okay, so tab bank tracker. I hit enter. And notice now when I come up here and I double click on this guy, it has automatically changed the name for me. So now I'm telling Excel I want you to sum up a bunch of numbers. Well, what numbers do you want me to sum up? I want you to go to the table, that's the bank tracker table, which is this whole object right here, and I want you to get all of the cells in bank 1. Okay, that's kind of cool. But the real power comes over here when I go 7, 14. I hit enter. Notice that it has automatically added an entire row for me, and it has copied down the formatting. I didn't have to do that paste special format thing that I did before. So that's really cool. So that's we like that. I'm gonna say, I don't know. Let's say I added 20 cents and 13 cents. And when I hit tab, when I hit tab, it's not going to jump to the right the way it normally does. It's actually going to tab, assume that I want to start another row, which is pretty cool. So okay, let's do 1, 8, 14, 35 cents. Oh no, not $35. 35 cents and 40 cents. Okay, I'm going to hit Control Enter because I don't want to jump. I want to stay in that cell. And you probably haven't been watching, but if you were, if your eyes were very keen, you will have noticed that this number is going up because every time I add a row, this reference expands to include that row, because this isn't referring to cells based on their A1 addresses. It's sort of gone past that, and it says, you know, you can go get those A1 addresses, but I want you to get them by going to the bank tracker table and selecting all the cells in bank 1. So notice this guy, it goes all the way down to 35 cents. I hit enter, and I'm going to come down here, 1, 9, 14, tab, 40, and 50. Control enter, and now it's gone down again. So it doesn't matter. I can add as many rows as I want, and it will always be summarizing the entire column, which is super duper helpful. So let's summarize bank 2, just like with named ranges. If I start typing in the name of the named range, or in this case the name of the table, it's going to sort of auto suggest something for me, right? So name the tab, the bank tracker table. Is that what I want? Yes, it is. I'm going to hit tab to complete it. I'm going to hit open square bracket. And when I hit open square bracket, basically I'm going to pick some part of the table. I don't want the whole table. I just want a specific part of it. So do I want the date column? Nope. Do I want the bank 1 column? Well, that was what I summed up here, and I want to sum up bank 2, so no. I want bank 2. I want bank 2. All this other stuff, don't worry too much about it. You can explore it if you want to. We'll cover a little bit of it later on. But for now, just worry about being able to select the entire column. So I can certainly type in bank 2, or I could just hit tab. Now, I don't know if it's a bug, but kind of a weird thing in Excel is when you hit tab, you would expect it to add a closing bracket for you to finish the reference, and it doesn't. You have to do that yourself. So we're going to do a closing square bracket. And notice as soon as I did that, it automatically highlighted this area, because that's the range that I'm pointing at right now. And I've once again managed to reference a bunch of cells without wrapping it in a function. Okay, so now we're not just going to go get these cells, we're going to get them and we're going to put them into the sum function. So we're going to add all these numbers up. Okay, I hit enter. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's render these as a currency. It looks a little nicer because they're money after all. Okay, now let's say that this is pretty cool, but I want to add what time I contribute the money to the banks. So I'm going to add, I'm going to go over here, and this is pretty easy. I'm just going to type in time, and when I hit enter, it automatically adds it. If I type in something next to the table, it's automatically going to assume it's a new column, or if it's down here, it's going to assume it's a new row. Okay, now if I just want to enter a bunch of values, like let's say, I don't know, 12:30 a.m. I hit enter. 3:30. This is bad accounting. I'm adding these long after I've made the contributions. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but you kind of get the idea. So I can add these values one at a time. 4:15 p.m. Control enter. I can certainly do that. I can Control C. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to right click, paste special, paste as values to does that work? Okay, I'm just going to do paste, escape, just because I don't want to have to enter all these by hand. But when you know, if there's no formula associated with these guys and you have to enter like individual values each time, you kind of have to go do it by hand. Now, if that sounded a little confusing, let me show you the opposite. If there's a formula for a calculation, when you enter the formula here in the top cell, it's going to automatically enter in all other cells, which is super handy. So let's say let's say I want to know the total for banks 1 and 2. Okay, Control Enter. Notice that it automatically added that column for me. It's kind of big. Let me expand that out there. Okay, and now if I type let's type a real simple formula. Let's do type equals 2 plus 2. If I type any formula here and there's a bunch of blanks, as soon as I hit enter, it's going to populate the formula all the way down the column. So everywhere in this column is equals 2 plus 2. Okay, well, banks 1 and 2 is not 4 every time. That's incorrect. So we want to add these guys together. Well, that's pretty easy. I'm going to hit the equal sign. I'm going to click right there, and notice when I did that, it automatically inserted this guy here. Notice there's no tab. Like if I do plus tab, there's no tab bank tracker stuff before this. If it's within the if your formula is within the table, you don't have to add that information that says what table it's in. It just automatically assumes that it's the table that the formula is in. So this says, oh, okay, in this table, I want you to go to bank 1, the column bank 1, and this little @ symbol means, and I want you to get the value in the current row that the formula is in. So the formula right now is in this row. It's in row 8. I can go over there kind of slow. It's in 8. Okay, and so this reference says go over here to bank 1 and grab the value from the current row, which is 50 cents. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and now I'm going to do open square bracket, and notice that as sort of before with the named ranges, it's giving me a list of stuff that it thinks that I might want. So I'm going to hit the. So right now, a common mistake is I might do bank 2 and close brackets, but notice what I've done here. If I don't have that little @ symbol, I've selected the entire column, and that is not what I want. I don't want that at all. I mean, maybe you do some other time, but this time I just want to add the value from bank 1 this row and the value from bank 2 this row. So I'm going to do @ to say I want it to be on this row, and now I should be able to do bank 2. And as per before, I do have to manually close out the reference by doing a close bracket. Okay, and now when I hit enter, it's going to auto-populate that throughout the entire column, and everywhere you go, it's going to be this row's value from bank 1 and this row's value from bank 2. Okay, let's format these as currency. Okay, so that's pretty cool, and that's really those are sort of the big things that you need to know about tables. Boy, there's so much I could tell you about tables. I guess I mean, some of the things that are kind of cool is if you want to, you can say I only want to see. Let's say I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna hit tab, and I'm gonna say I was bad and I didn't put anything in for like a little for a couple weeks. 14. So let's say I didn't add anything until February 10th, and this time I added 35 cents, 50 cents, and I did it at 9:30 p.m. Okay, tab. Notice that when I added a row, the formulas continued down automatically. I didn't have to do that manually. Okay. Now let's say I only want to look at what I did for January. I can come up here. If you didn't see that, I clicked on the little button, which is filtering and sorting. I'm going to click on that, and I can come down here, and I can notice you've got sort of this tree here. I could say, hey, you know what? Only show me the values for January in 2014. I'm going to hit OK, and suddenly that last row that I entered is gone. It's not gone from the table, but it's no longer visible, right? Which if you're trying to just like look at your data, sometimes that could be helpful. If you come over here, you'll notice that these guys have turned blue, and you'll notice that it jumps from 16 to 18. This blue stuff means that these rows include some form of filtering. So it's sort of a clue that you may have a row somewhere that it exists but it's invisible. Because right now row 17, here 16, 18, 17 is like in between these two and it's kind of hidden. So if I come up here and I click on this and I do clear filters from date, well, it comes back. So I haven't deleted it. I've just filtered it. I can also, let's say I want to, I could sort, and I want to find out the days that I made the biggest contributions to Bank One. I can go here, I can click on it, and I could say I want you to sort the table from largest to smallest. And now suddenly it has resorted all the rows such that the largest contributions to Bank One start here at the top and continue to go down, right? Which is kind of cool. You might want to be kind of careful with this, because if you have some specific order, you can kind of get yourself into trouble by doing a bunch of sorts and then not being able to, you save it and you close the document, you can't undo it, and whatever original order you had for your rows is kind of lost. In this case, though, we can just resort by date and it will work out just fine. So I'm going to say sort oldest to newest. Okay, so that's kind of cool. We had these guys up here, and those are useful. So if we want to have sums of the different columns, that's kind of cool. But I can also go up to design, and over here I've got these different options. I could turn off the header row. I could turn off row banding so it doesn't have those stripes to make it easier to read. If I'm sending it to a printer, I could save some ink that way. Also kind of cool is this guy, total row. I click on that, and suddenly I've got a total. And if I hit tab, notice how it automatically jumps down. It's got that really nice behavior. So this is, let's say, 211, 14, 25 cents, and 10 cents at 7:30 in the morning. I was good this day. I hit tab. Okay, and that's kind of cool. But let's say you don't necessarily want to see a total. You want to see the average contribution per day. Well, if you click on this cell, or you click on any of these cells, you'll see you get this little drop-downy doodle. So I'm going to click on that. If I don't want to see anything, I could hit none. But I do. I want to see the average. And suddenly it's gone from giving me a total to an average, right? So let's go over here. Let's for this guy, I just want to do sum just for a pure total. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I don't want that. I want the, now I'm just going to do none. That doesn't really make sense for time. I don't really want to do average time. That's kind of strange. What I do want to do is I want to do the average contribution to Bank 2, and let's do the, I guess the total contribution to Bank 1. That's kind of cool. And notice up here the formula used in this for this total row is this subtotal formula. It's not the normal sum. We will get into that more perhaps at some point, but the thing that's cool about it is when you filter out certain things, like let's say I only want to look at February and hit OK. These formulas up here ignore that filtering effect that I just did. These are the same as before the filter, but these guys, because they have that subtotal function, they're only going to get the, in this case, the sum of these rows that are left after the filter, and this is it's only going to get the average of the rows that are left post filter. So when I clear the filter, that number is going to change. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so if you pair this with named ranges, that tends to work out really well, and it makes very clean, easy to look at formulas. Let's say that I want to know what percentage I am towards my goal of owning this my dream car. So I'm going to do equals. I'm going to do all this by hand, just so you can see somebody do it again. So we get actually I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go over so we get myself some screen real estate. I'm going to do equals sum, open parentheses, tab, and I'm going to hit the tab button to autocomplete this guy right there, tab, open square bracket. I want all the values from Bank 1, close square bracket to complete it, close parentheses to finish off that sum function, plus sum, open parentheses, tab, Okay, I'm just going to hit Tab to complete it. I'm going to hit open square bracket. So I've got these options here. Well, I don't want to do bank 1. I just did bank 1. I want to do bank 2. Close bracket. Now notice again, it's highlighted these guys there. And I'm going to do close parentheses. Okay, so now what I've got right here is this should be that guy right there. It should be everything that I've got saved up. Well, actually, this is an average. It should be the sum of all these guys, or the sum of this plus the sum of this, which is good. That's the total that I've got saved up. I'm going to close all of that in parentheses. Close all of that in parentheses, and I'm going to divide it by val cost of dream car. I've already got the cost of a dream car as a named range. So I'm going to hit Tab, right? And what's nice about this, let's see, I should hit Enter. And I'm not going to do the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to percentage. What's nice about this? Well, what's not nice about this is I'm not very close to owning my dream car. That's the downside. The upshot is if I double click on it, when I come back 4 weeks from now and trying to figure out how my formulas work, or I hand this workbook off to somebody else, and they're trying to figure out how the whole darn thing works, this formula where you've got these range references that are table object range references and named ranges are a whole lot easier to read and understand than things like A1:B42, right? That stuff is okay, but this is much easier to read. And if you create big models that are big and complex, that's going to make a big difference, especially when you have to go troubleshoot something. All right, so I'm gonna hit Enter. I'm gonna left mouse over here. Okay, and I think. Yeah, so there's only 2 other quick things that I want to go over. And these are sort of, I don't know if I'd call them best practices, but maybe good practices. When you are naming the table, your first inclination when you're starting out is to give it a big long name. Like, I'm going to do Piggy Bank Tracker Isn't It Nice? And I hit Enter. Which sounds cool because maybe that's really descriptive, but then when I go over here to click on the formula, suddenly, oh man, this is really big. I thought this was going to make it easier to read, and it's making it harder to read. And the same goes for columns. You want column names that are descriptive, but also really short, so that your formulas don't get too big. There's sort of like an optimization process there. So make table names and column names that are descriptive, but also try and make them short where possible. Okay, I'm going to hit Enter. And the second piece of advice is you generally want to avoid putting stuff below a table, right? Like I don't want to put unsuspecting. I have to spell this right. Suspect. I'm doing great. Unsuspecting text, right? So if I've got unsuspecting text down here, and I keep adding stuff, at some point it's going to kind of run over this text, and that's bad. So you want to make sure that you've got nothing underneath your tables. That way, when you keep adding rows, it's not a problem. All right. So just like named ranges, if your model's really small, they may not actually be worth the effort. So if you've got a model that's just one sheet, or maybe even 3 sheets, but it's pretty simple. Well, they're still nice, and maybe it's good to practice making them, but I don't know if you really need one. However, as your models grow, and they get like really big and really complex, if you are able to take all of your data that's laid out like this, that looks like a table but isn't recognized as a table object, the way that this is, if you make this stuff that looks like a table and do Control T, or let's see, should I do it one more time? T like that. If you do what I just did, where you take that stuff that looks like a table and convert it into a table object that's got all this sorting and filtering and being able to refer to columns in sort of this way. Well, if you do that, it's gonna, especially if you combine that with named ranges for all your like parameters and single values. When you do that, it's going to make your formulas really, really easy to read, and that is going to pay big dividends as your models grow in both in size and in the number of people viewing them. Okay, well that is it for now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you next video.